Hello there. Welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Some powerful new comments from President Biden, who was actually at the Pfizer plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I have to tell you, I took the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. I feel great, and I'm looking forward to my second dose in 2 to 3 weeks. What's important here is what President Biden said to the employees at the Pfizer plant. Some pretty incredible comments from the President of the United States. First, let me show you this headline of this article from the Washington Post. Biden said to critics of the $1.9 trillion stimulus plan, "What would they have me cut?" In a very strong defense of the American Rescue Plan. Keep in mind, the House is going to vote on the American Rescue Plan in the coming week. This is what President Biden said. He said, should we not invest $20 billion to vaccinate the nation? He said, should we not invest $50 billion to help small businesses stay open when tens of thousands had to close permanently? He's right. He also said, how many people do you know will go to bed tonight staring at the ceiling saying, God, what is going to happen if I don't get my job, if I don't have my unemployment check? President Biden is absolutely right. He's recognizing what many of our fellow Americans are suffering. In a series of remarkable, forceful comments, President Biden said some things that were extremely noteworthy. Now, I've asked my video team to piece together some of the most important comments from the Biden speech. And since there's so many comments, I've asked my team to play them at 1.5x speed. So we're going to play the clip a little bit faster so we can get through all of the comments. So otherwise, if this video will end up being very long. Let's jump into the first segment with President Biden, where President Biden says, what would they have me cut? He's referring, of course, to the American Rescue Plan. Let's roll the tape and hear what the president had to say.
We need Congress to pass my American Rescue Plan that deals with the immediate crisis, the urgency. Now, critics say my plan is too big, that it costs $1.9 trillion. So that's too much. Let me ask them, what would they have me cut? What would they have me leave out? Should we not invest $20 billion to vaccinate the nation? Should we not invest $290 million to extend unemployment insurance for the 11 million Americans who are unemployed so they can get by while they get back to work? Should we not invest $50 billion to help small businesses stay open when tens of thousands have had to close permanently? Should we not invest, and by the way, they make up half the employment in America. Should we not invest $130 million to help schools across the nation open safely? Right now, 24 million adults, 11 million children don't have enough food to eat. And unless you think I'm exaggerating, think of those scenes you've seen on the television with cars lined up which seem like miles to wait to have someone put a box of food in their trunk. People who never, ever, 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 ever thought they would need help. And through no fault of their own, they're in that circumstance. If we don't pass the American Rescue Plan, 40 million Americans will lose nutritional assistance through a program we call SNAP, the old food stamp program. Do we not invest $3 billion to keep families from going hungry?
That sort of highlights the challenge that we face. And, Republicans want there to be cuts with the plan. But what do you cut? I mean, who gets to be sidelined when the entire country needs help? When it's not just the stimulus checks, not just the unemployment benefits, but children need to be fed. Schools that are closed need help. Vaccines are needed in rural areas. And as the president said, I could go on and on. Let's take a look at the next segment where the president said, my hope is that the Republicans listen to their constituents and support the plan. Let's act big and support the American Rescue Plan. Important comments from the President of the United States in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden.
1 in 5 Americans are behind in their rent. 1 in 10 are behind in their mortgage. How many people do you know that will go to bed tonight staring at the ceiling and say, God, what is going to happen if I don't get my job, if I don't have my unemployment check? What's happened to me? I'm losing my health insurance. What do I do? This is the United States of America, for God's sake. We invest in people who are in need. Do we not invest $35 billion to help people keep a roof over their heads? I could go on, but you get the point. I'm grateful that the Senate and the House are moving quickly. And I'm prepared to hear their ideas on how to make the package better and make it cheaper. I'm open to that. We have to make clear who is helped and who is hurt. And my hope is that the Republicans in Congress listen to their constituents. According to the polls, there is overwhelming bipartisan support. The vast majority of the American people, more than 70% of the American people, with all of the polls you all conduct, including the majority of Republicans, want us to act and act big and quickly and support the plan. Major economists, left, right, and center, say we should focus on smart investments we can make now in jobs and our people to prevent long-term economic damage to our nation and to strengthen the economic competitiveness going forward. In fact, an analysis by the Wall Street firm Moody's estimates that if we pass my American Rescue Plan, the economy will create 7 million jobs this year. this year.
Now, one thing that is extremely interesting about this situation is that senators and congressmen and congresswomen have ideological principles. They have an ideology which is, hey, let's be fiscally conservative, and so on. But mayors and governors, they live in reality. They care about what they can do for their constituents, and they wrote a letter. Over 400 mayors wrote a letter to President Biden asking for the American Rescue Plan. Mayors and governors across the country, Republican and Democrats, have been asking for the American Rescue Plan. In fact, President Biden points this out and he says mayors and governors from both sides want us to act now and act big. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden, where he refers to mayors and governors and the letter that he got from over 400 mayors from across the country. Let's roll the tape and hear from the president.
We've also been in constant contact with mayors and governors, county officials, members of Congress, both parties. Both parties. I've met with them in my office. I've met with them on the internet, on Zooming on with them. Both parties in every state. And guess what? They agree we have to act now. I got a letter from more than 400 mayors from big cities and small towns. They understand we're not going to get our economy back in shape and the millions of people back to work until we beat this virus. That's why the American Rescue Plan puts $160 billion into more testing and tracing, manufacturing and distribution, and setting up vaccination sites. Everything is needed to get vaccines into people's arms, which is the most difficult logistical effort the United States has undertaken in peacetime. It includes $4 billion for new manufacturing plants. So we're ready to manufacture vaccines in the future. We don't have to wait.
And one question all of us have been asking is, when will this crisis end? The president, unlike the former president who provided actual dates and said, oh, this will be over by April, that has been said. If you look at comments from the past administration, this president said, I can't give you a date when this will end. We are doing everything possible to have that day come. Let's roll the tape and hear from President Biden. Let's watch.
I'm going to close with what I said before. I'll always be straight with you. I said in my inaugural, I'll give it to you straight from the shoulder, as Roosevelt said. Because the American people can take the truth. They can handle anything. I can't give you a date when this crisis will end. But I can tell you, we're doing everything possible to have that day come sooner rather than later. And all of you here are doing some of the most important work in this facility right here that can be done. And I know this is personal. I walked in today, and I won't say who came up to me, but one of the people in this building came up to me and said, my father-in-law is dying from COVID. I said, can I call him? He said, no, he couldn't take a call. He says, keep him in his prayers, please. How many of you know somebody who's in real trouble or has passed? How many people do you know who sat down to breakfast this morning and looked at an empty chair across the table? You've seen the devastation of this virus in your family, your community, but you're stepping up. You're saving lives here, lives of your loved ones, your neighbors, your fellow Americans. You're showing how this town, this state, this country takes care of our own. Leave nobody behind. We can do anything when we do it together. I believe we're on the road, and I promise you, I know we'll run into bumps. It's not going to be easy here to the end, but we're going to beat this. We're going to beat this. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
The thing that is very noteworthy is the letter from the mayors and the governors. The letter, over 400 mayors wrote a letter to President Biden. This tells us that this crisis is something that's impacting all of us. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. We are all Americans first. I hope you learned something new from this video. I appreciate you watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I can assure you that President Biden, there he is, hello, would appreciate that, and so would I. Please click the like button. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.